Welcome to the Greater Returns Podcast, where we talk about nonprofit fundraising, analytics, and how to get better every day. Now, let's get started with the show.
Dennis Hoffman here. I'm the host of Greater Returns, a fundraising podcast, where I talk with top nonprofit leaders about marketing, direct mail, and analytics. I have John Cochran here from Rise 25. John has done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs, investors, and CEOs. We flipped the script today, and John will be interviewing me.
All right, Dennis, thanks so much. Happy to be here. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about fundraising communications and different ways to communicate effectively. And of course, before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by Engage USA. And Engage USA provides expert caging and lockbox services to help organizations meet their unique fundraising needs. Their proprietary systems capture, verify, and balance data in real time, allowing them to provide clients with obsessively accurate data and deposits within 24 hours. State and national charities, advocacy organizations, and political candidates count on Engage USA to help their fundraising campaigns become more successful. So what are you waiting for? Visit engageusa.com, or you can also email info@engageusa.com to learn more. All right, Dennis. So this would be a fun topic because, first of all, I want to know, how did JCPenney help influence the strategy that you use with your clients with fundraising?
So, John, I was telling you the story before about how I got into data. I was a creative guy, and my job was to write fundraising mail and to help my nonprofit clients raise more money. Once I got in, once I saw the data and realized what impact it could have, I started to learn about it. And the first place I went was DM days in New York. But being me, I didn't register for anything. I showed up and figured I'd figure out what to do when I got there. And I got there, and all of the amazing classes about how to build relational databases or data warehouses, relational co-op databases, they were all filled up. And I ended up walking into a seminar, a JCPenney seminar run by the head of data for JCPenney.
Okay.
And I took ideas home from that really changed the way I did work for my clients.
Isn't it amazing how you didn't even intend to go into this workshop? You go in and it has such a lasting impact that 20 years later, you're still thinking about it. So what are some of the insights you gained from that workshop?
Well, one of the things, I mean, it seems simple to me now, but the speaker from JCPenney said, so we bring in a new catalog buyer, and he just bought pants from us. What do we sell him now? And he told the whole group, but of course, this is all about me. The thing he talked about was that his first reaction was to try to sell them a shirt. I mean, they already had pants, or try to sell them socks. But what the data shows is the thing the guy is most likely to buy is another pair of pants. And logic says, yeah, if I think it through, yes, it is. And the lesson I learned from that I helped my clients with is stick to your message, have a tight message, and stay with it. Use the same message. You have the same cause, the same explanation to your donor of why you need the money, and give it over and over again.
So rather than shifting to some other rationale or shifting to some other story, stick with what you've been using.
Absolutely. If I was raising money for the YMCA summer camp, and a lot of times the YMCA will say, "But let's raise money on one of our other programs." Well, these donors want to give to your summer camp. They've actually already given to your summer camp once. We don't know if they care about helping seniors. We don't know if they care about helping with daycare. We know they care about summer camp. And so we should stick as close to the summer camp issue as we can to keep the donors happy and keep the donors involved.
That's interesting. So do you find you have to push back sometimes against clients who say that we want to talk about this other program that we have?
Absolutely. And I have to say that in their history, that's what they've normally done. And certainly there's a place for it. There's certainly a place for a nonprofit to talk about the various things it does. But if we want to involve donors in the best possible way to get the best rate of response and the most involved donors, is to stick with the issue that brought them in,
that they're most interested in. What about what did you learn from that about speed or the pacing when you should come back and communicate with the donors again after that initial transaction?
So the really amazing thing about that is same speaker, same setup, and he asked how quickly should JCPenney go back and try to sell that pair of pants to the catalog buyer. And JCPenney did a lot of research on that and found that the fastest time was the next day. Today, that we're in a different world with the internet, I bet the fastest time is probably a few minutes later. And in fact, I can think of that when I've bought something online and they immediately come back and try to sell me something very much like it. And the same is true with donor response. The faster we get an acknowledgement out, a thank you out, and the faster we're back to that same donor asking for a donation again for the same cause, the more likely they are to respond. We spend so much money, nonprofits spend so much money acquiring new donors. It's ridiculous that they don't spend as much money to make sure they're retaining those donors and getting them to give a second time, a third time, become long-term supporters of the organization.
What do you say to your clients who say, no, that's too quick, they've just given, we have to pace it out a little bit?
Well, the data shows exactly the opposite. There definitely are great reasons to give time between fundraising letters. You can see, and some donors will give a lot more often than others, but after an initial gift, speed is the most important thing. People who give once, 50% of them will never give again. If the sooner we get into the mailbox, the more of them will, and it has an incredible impact on the bottom line when nonprofits when nonprofits convert their donors into multi-donors quickly.
Mm. And talk a little bit about, are there stories of clients who had been taking, let's say, months to get a thank you letter out, compressing that down and seeing better results? Is there any that come to mind?
I have to say that's a pretty common thing. A lot of large nonprofits that we've all heard of will save their up until they have a lot of them, so they can send them out in an inexpensive way. They don't update their databases on a regular basis, and those are simple things that can have a big impact.
So just that one thing, just the speed of sending out the thank you notes has such a big impact. What else? Any other ideas or insights that came from that original workshop that come to mind?
I think the biggest thing my biggest takeaway from that workshop was that people want to give to what they've given. What we know about a donor or responder is that they gave to this package, that they gave for this call to action, that they gave for this mission. And any changes we make reduce the chance of them giving a second time.
What types of changes are you referring to?
I'm talking about if the donor gave the first time by by email. They're most likely to give by email another time. If they gave the first time to a flat package, they're most likely to give to a flat package the next time. But also, if we bring in a donor for our annual fund and we then send them a special appeal, they're less likely to give to the special appeal than they are to give to the annual fund another time.
Interesting. Any final thoughts on fundraising communications? Any other strategies or insights that you've gleaned that you want to share for nonprofits that want to, communicate more effectively?
Well, I have to say that early in my career, I didn't believe in thank you letters.
Wow. Very different from what we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
Why did you not believe in thank you letters?
Because I didn't see because I couldn't get an immediate return on investment from a thank you letter. And the people I knew, the professionals who taught me how to do this, none of us believed in thank yous. And the big difference the big thing that I realized is a thank you is not about paying for itself. It's about acknowledging the donation that the person made. It's about the long-term relationship between the nonprofit and its donor. And we can see a direct impact from fast and personal thank yous to people who give. Whether those thank yous are made by telephone, by mail, by email, however those thank yous are made, thanking a donor increases the chance that they will continue to give to your organization.
It's interesting because this principle of speed and communicating faster and sending out the thank you notes faster, it seems very simple, like it can be done easily, but there's so much complexity to it. From gathering the data to processing the payments to syncing it up with the CRM. So where are the choke points? Where are some of the ways in which you see nonprofits struggle to speed up that process? Since you know it obviously intimately, you've been so involved in this. What are some ways in which you see that being a struggle to speed it up?
Sure. Well, one of the big things is people tend to be way too worried about how quickly the money gets in the bank and not worried enough about how quickly their data gets into their database. And what we've done at Engage is couple those two things together. So we balance the data to the bank deposit, and both of them get to our clients the next day, within 24 hours of receipt here. And that, in theory, could allow the organization, and a lot of our clients do, get acknowledgements out in the following day. Some of them even the same day that we get them their data. And then there are choke points all through it. If a client is on, if a nonprofit is on a every 3-week mailing schedule, for example, and they get their data in the day after the cutoff, that means that if they get mail in and that takes 3 or 4 days to get the data, and then that's the day after the cutoff, it could be a month before they get a thank you or another letter to that donor.
Interesting. Dennis, this has been great. Remind everyone listening where they can connect with you and learn more about what you do at Engage USA. Sure.
You can find us on our website at engageusa.com, or you can email me personally. I'm DennisH@engageusa.com. And I'll look forward to hearing from you.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Dennis.
Thanks for listening to the Greater Returns podcast. We'll see you again next time. And be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.